So let's begin. There's an emotional wellness formula. I think they call it emotional regulation formula that hasn't necessarily worked for me. I think it has worked for millions of people. It just didn't work for me. And if you're one of those people that it didn't work for you, then maybe this life is for you then. And the emotional regulation formula that you'd find on a very, very simple Google search would be first is to name the emotion. And then after naming the emotion, then go to challenging it. So find out then whoever you're working with, or even on Google, you'll get like a list of the names of emotions, and then you can choose which one you're feeling at that time. And then after that, then you challenge it. Is it true? What you're feeling at that time? Where is it coming from? And things like that. And that didn't necessarily work for me. And before I continue, I do want to say I don't really work with people with emotionally unwell individuals. That is for other people to do that. The people that I work with are the people that have gone past that, past the emotional wellness part, and now wanting to find more guidance from their emotions and wanting to let them guide them on who they truly are, where they truly want to be, and allow them to lead the way instead of you leading the way, if that makes sense. So back to the formula. So here's my issue with the formula of first naming the emotion and then following it up with the challenge. And for me, the issue with that has to do with the fact that it immediately kills the intimacy of emotions, which is really about letting them flow. And I made some notes. Just give me a chance. Mm, yeah. So the main thing is getting caught up in finding the right name. And if you've ever worked with me, you know that I let people say, even if it's not a feeling, whatever it is that you're feeling, to come up with your own way of expressing it, to come up with your own word. And the reason I get it to that is because emotions are very natural and ancient. They predate language. So sometimes what we are truly feeling doesn't even need to be expressed in words, doesn't need to have like a perfect word. One can just say, this is how I'm feeling. Even if the person sitting next to you would be like, oh, I know what you're feeling. It's called this and that. I don't think that's really helpful, because we could go through the same thing and feel like we're both feeling sadness, or we're both going through grief. It can never be the same. And to allow yourself to come up with your own way that is not part of the English language, that is not part of um, the well accepted way of describing it, and just having your own way, I think that is much better than following the rules of what your feeling is. And that also, to me, makes it less on the mind and more on the feeling, and just like waiting to hear what the feeling is. And what I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this as well, is that the mind really appreciates being told what to do. The more you feed it emotions, I mean, the more you feed it information, the more alive it gets, the more happy it gets. The more you read, the more you do that, the mind really appreciates receiving information. Whereas emotions appreciate being the one that does the telling. They really appreciate when we sit and we listen. Even if at first um, what they are trying to communicate doesn't make sense. The emotions, what they are communicating doesn't make sense, but they really appreciate just being listened to and feeling instead of thinking at that moment. And I feel like when we go to the list and choose an emotion, we are now telling the emotion, and it shuts down at that moment. It just shuts down whenever we get to a point where we are telling it, this is what this is called. I think it shuts down instead of listening as intently as we can, and that takes time, as intently as we can, to find out what it is that it wants to say to us. So that's the first thing. And then the next thing has to do with the second part of the formula, which is challenge it. The second part of the formula is asking it if it is true. And I think that is where, for me, I know it has worked for millions of people, but for me, that's where I felt that I would lose the intimacy of self reflection, because emotions are really about the inner world rather than the outside. They're not. And I think that is another thing that makes us so scared of feeling, is because we believe it's connected to action, it's connected to, responsibility, the things that happened outside. Whereas emotions are all about the inner work. They are not trying to tell you what to do. That now that you're angry, stand up and do something about it. Or now that you're sad, stand. It's not about that. It's really about the inner work. And we get scared because we think we have to act out on them immediately, whereas it's not. It's not what it is. So that is the first thing: is the fact that we don't really we lose the intimacy once we start questioning if it is true. Once we start challenging it, we lose the intimacy of self-reflection. And I don't know if you've had this before, where um you go to somebody very close to you, whether a partner, a parent, a friend, and you express this is what happened, and then they go, are you sure that is it true? It just, for that little moment, you lose the intimacy of, like, I wouldn't tell you that it happened if it wasn't true. I thought you would know that out of everybody else. So even the emotions, to start from the point of, if I'm feeling it, it's probably true. And then just feel where exactly it is going. So let me just check if I'm missing something. Okay. Yes, we've spoken about the fact that emotions prefer to be heard rather than to be told. They don't like to be fed information. They'd rather you listen to what's going on right now. The intimacy of self-reflection, we touched on that. And I think the question, is it true, is very important for the mind. I think it's such a, um, I don't know, I think it's really a helpful question if you are questioning your thoughts. I think it's so important, questioning your belief system, the way you see things, all of that. I think it's so perfect. It has worked for me. All of that, I think it's so perfect to question. But when it comes to feeling, I mean, I think just taking a seat and listening could be much better. All right. Uh, mm. Okay, this is another thing that I wanted to mention with regards to naming emotions, is that we take over whenever we start to try and name what's going on. We take over, and then we become the guide instead of letting the emotions guide us of where to. We become the guide and we guide them, and we lose ourselves in that. And it doesn't mean that your life will be horrible. It will still be a good life. It just won't be a life that is more aligned to you. Um, and that's it. Oh, okay. I knew I was forgetting something. So there was something about suppressing emotions, that the more we try and guide them, the more we try and control them, the more suppressed they become. And the more suppressed they become, the more the subconscious becomes stronger. And this is where I started really being interested in this topic, is because I realized that there were things that weren't really my decision that were happening. And to really deal with the subconscious and to see where is it that we are ignoring certain things, because we tend to push them away and then let the mind be the bully and the leader and take care of all of everything, and then lose the importance of the emotions. So for example, like, I don't know if you've heard this, where a person is like, I don't know how I did this thing. Maybe they cheated and they're like, I don't know, it just happened. Or maybe they picked up another drink and they were not going to pick up another drink. And they're like, I don't know how I picked up another drink. And then the other one would be, maybe they've made these big plans that I'm going to start this project, and they just don't know how come they haven't started it yet. And that's a subconscious taking over, because there's something that our emotions know that we haven't paid attention to, we haven't attended to. And it could be that they know that this is not the right time. Maybe they know that we are so tired. It's not it wouldn't make energetically, it wouldn't make sense to start a new project, or there's something that we need to uncover first before we put down the drink if the drink is an issue, and things like that. And I really do believe that the more we pay attention and we attend to emotions, and attending to them doesn't mean acting out on them. The more we attend to them, the less likely we'll have um, the less likely we'll have the subconscious mind taking over. And that's it. And just to recap, this was really about the formula of naming the emotion. And if you'd like to know, you can book some time with me. If you'd like to know what is the alternative, I'll leave some details on where you could book some time with me. So uh, the formula of naming and challenging the emotions, I feel like it takes away from the emotions actually guiding us and giving us very important information about where it is that we need to go. And it also helps the mind to take over when we try and name emotions and then challenge them. So that's what it was about. And if you'd like to know how to replace that, I'm available. Thank you for being here. Take care.